to Recruit and Retain. My name is Kelly Cano. I'm a Superstar Director from El Paso, Texas. And thank you. So first of all, I would love to see a show of hands. How many people chose this breakout because you want that perfect formula to be able to know exactly how to recruit and build your team? So I'm sorry, the escalator is over there because there is no perfect right. There is no perfect formula to say do this, this, and you are going to build a team. I wish it was that easy, but it's not. It is easy though when you just open up your heart, share your story, which I'm going to share a little bit of my story with you so you can just see how Sensi has impacted my life. I used to have a very successful commercial real estate business. I was confident, I was young, I was vibrant, I was outgoing. I had everything I ever wanted to have. Then I got married and I still had everything I had, and then I quickly had kids. And the moment I held my son, I never wanted to go back into that field. I never envisioned myself being a stay-at-home mom. My friends would laugh at me because I was all about my career. So the fact that I had kids and then wanted to stay home with them was huge. So my life changed, and I think we've all been through seasons of our life where our life changes. I was happy. I love and still absolutely adore being a mom. My kids are 10 and 11 now, and they're my world. But as I became a mom and a cook and a wife and a nurse and a counselor, and the list goes on, I see lots of heads shaking. And a what? And a maid, absolutely, that's my number one job. And a wife, sometimes we forget, we get so involved in momhood that we kind of tend to forget we're also a wife. I lost one thing, big, important thing. I lost Kelly. I had no idea who I was. I was a mom and I owned it. I rocked that world. I still rock that world. But there's just something about it. I was not that career person. I did not have confidence. I was not outgoing. You want to tell me to talk to somebody at a grocery store? You're crazy. I have crying kids in the basket. There's no way. I can't talk to somebody when I go to the doctor's office with my kids because they're screaming. It was very different life. So I was seeking for something for me, only me, that did not involve my children. So I dabbled in a little home interiors and another direct selling, and it was great. It served a purpose. It got me out of my house, and I was happy. But I still didn't have that confidence. I tried to have a party with the other direct selling companies, and it was all right. It got me out of the house. Really, that was all it did. Then I found Sensi, and I love candles, so Sensi was perfect for me. I found this thing that I could do, that I believed in, that I loved. So what I did was, I booked a lot of parties. Why did I book a lot of parties? Because I wanted out of my house. And I was doing this. I was making money, booking parties, and I was getting out of my house. And it was great. I loved it. I was contributing. Everything was wonderful. I attended my first world tour, and it was actually in this area. It was at not Great Wolf Lodge, the Gaylord Texan several years ago. And back then, world tour was a 2-day event. So I went that day, not knowing anybody. I registered. My nerves were out of this world. I'm sure some of you guys have that exact same feeling today. So I go, and I forced myself out of that comfort zone, registered, and I walked into this huge room of training. And I looked around at all these teams and everybody, there's matching shirts and blinky things and this and that. And here I am alone, sitting in this little corner, alone. absolutely. Nobody talked to me. I was frustrated. I was mad. Really, I already lacked confidence in myself, and here I am sitting here not knowing anybody, and not one person told me, hi, my name is so-and-so. Nothing. So I was frustrated. I did not have belief in Scentsy. I did not have belief in the consultants, and mostly, I did not have belief in me. So I started to cry a little bit, tears coming down. I was embarrassed, so I get up, I go to the bathroom. I tried to compose myself, and I couldn't. I walked out that door, and I never came back. It was a 2-day event. I didn't even come the next day. And I didn't have money to throw away. I traveled from El Paso to come here. My family lives here. My kids were across the street at Great Wolf Lodge. That's where my heart was. So I just went and enjoyed their company. And I was so disappointed in everything and why I came. And I left discouraged. But remember, I booked a lot of parties. So I get home. I didn't have any time to waste because I was booking parties. So I went to a Scentsy party. At that party, I let loose because I could, because I was away from my kids and this is my adult time. So I was having fun, just sharing. There was a lady there who I'd never met before, and she said, I would like to do something like this too. How do I join? I said, how do you join? Well, I don't know. You want to join my team? Okay, fine. So then we talked about it. The next day, she joined. That is where my belief changed. Now, I had somebody that was kind of looking up to me for help. I didn't know what I was doing. How in the world am I going to help you when I'm just starting off? I have no clue. But we had fun. We learned it together. We failed together. We shared our experiences together, and we built this little culture together. And together we built more people, and then it just grew and took off because it was fun. We got to build this culture within our team. So when I tell you there's not a perfect formula to recruit, there really isn't. But if you get nothing else from this breakout session, I want you to remember to be personable, to share you. Don't share your neighbor's story. You've got to share you. So I want you to think about a commercial. Tomorrow's the Super Bowl, so we're gonna have lots of fun commercials to watch. But there's a lot of commercials out there that get that emotion in you, right? My last session that I did this, I cried, so I'm thinking my stomach is full. I think I might be able to get through this, but one commercial that really sticks to my head and I can relate to is a Windex commercial. It starts off where it's just a window, and there's this young dad, and he's looking through this window at the hospital in the nursery at his baby girl. And it's a special moment. He's smiling from ear to ear. And it goes on through the whole story of their life as this little girl is growing up. And it hits home to me because the dad has to leave to go off to work, and the daughter's got tears in her eyes. And I relate because my husband works a ton of hours, and he misses out on so many opportunities that the kids have because he's gone. And that related to me. So it continues on and it goes full circle. At the end of the commercial, you see another window, and the dad is looking in now at his grandbaby. That daughter that he was once looking in at that window has now had a baby of her own. And it just really hit home to me. And at no point in time during this entire commercial did it say Windex until it was the end had happened and a quick Windex just showed up. That's it. They didn't show me the bottle of Windex. They didn't show me how to wash a window. They didn't show me anything throughout the entire commercial but a bunch of things that could use Windex, right? So when we do the exact same thing in our business, we win. We're building that emotional connection with people. Reasons lead to conclusions, emotions lead to action. So instead of sharing everything about the business, you can earn this trip to Mexico. You could earn a sensational start. You can earn the shooting star. They're not hearing that stuff. They're not relating to that stuff. But when you start sharing what Scentsy has done for you, you're here at this world tour, today. Share what you're learning, share your passion, share quotes that resonate to you, share pictures of the people that you're sitting next to. That stuff sells way more than any kind of flyer that you could ever post on social media. So when you're talking about recruiting, which I'm just gonna put it out there, I don't like that word recruiting at all. I think it's very militant. I feel like just number. So instead, I like to talk about sponsoring or building your team. I don't really love to hear recruit. But when you're trying to build your team or keep growing your team, there's two different approaches that you can take. There's a direct approach and an indirect approach. They both are very effective when you are genuine. When you're not genuine and you are telling someone else's story or just sharing a flyer, that isn't gonna work. But when you're genuine, any approach you take will work. So I want you to take a few minutes, get your notebooks out if you don't already have them. And I want you to think of a few people in your life that have been influential. It could be family, it could be friends, it could be somebody you work with, somebody in this room maybe. So think about those people. And as you're thinking about them, I want you to write down the qualities that those people have that make you remember them. What are those qualities? I'm gonna give you about 2 minutes to write those down.
Okay. I'm still telling you who. I put my daddy as one because he is a leader as far as like, I don't know how to explain it. He knows how to lead in other ways besides just telling you what to do. He shows you by his actions, and he's strong, and he is not. He only says things when they're important. He doesn't just talk to hear himself talking, and so I think that makes people listen to him more. And then also he's very kind, and people are drawn to him because you can tell that he is kind.
All right, so strong is a good one too. Anybody else want to share some qualities?
Okay, well, mine's my mom, and it's because she's really selfless. She gives to everybody before she'll give to herself. She worries about everybody in our family, and then she worries about herself.
So they're selfless. One or two more. Anybody else want to share some qualities of the person that you wrote down? Yes.
I put down my friend Jen. Qualities that she has are welcoming. She's genuine. She's nice and caring. And she tells people this is no judgment. I don't judge you. You don't judge me. And she's great.
To move in? Oh, yes. So if you can move in to help. Okay, so those are some great qualities. So what I want you to think about is when you meet somebody or when you want to approach them about the opportunity, if you guys can, right, you want them to come fill in the seats? Okay, so if you guys can come and fill in, there's some seats up here in the front. I won't call on you, I promise. But if you could just kind of fill in these seats, that would be amazing. My buddy is asking me to do that for you. Okay, so when you're thinking about these qualities of people that you just listed, that's a perfect way to offer the opportunity, right? You could say, you know what, Mom, I think, or you know what, my friend, or perfect stranger on the street, you are so genuine and understanding and caring and giving. I would love to talk to you about being on my team. I need somebody just like you. You would be perfect, right? So you can also, one thing for me, every single time that I find somebody with a great personality, because sometimes in customer service these days, it's hard to find. So when I find somebody that's got a bubbly personality, they're smiling, they're excited, I will always talk to them and give them the opportunity, because I need people like that on my team. I just went to Las Vegas for a hockey tournament 2 weeks ago. My daughter and I went downstairs in the casino, and there was this necklace right as you walk off the elevator that caught my eye. So we went over and the lady started talking to my daughter, and I was admiring the necklace, and then I went over and I started talking to her. Within 5 minutes, I already knew I wanted her on my team because she was very bubbly. She's a salesperson, but she wasn't salesy. She was just building that connection, just exactly what we're talking about now. So I told her, I said, wow, and she's from France. And I said, oh, France, you know, I'm going to France. Where would you think? And then her and my daughter started having a conversation about Paris and why she loves Paris. And the conversation just escalated from there. So then I told her, I said, you know, I would love to talk to you a little bit more about what I do. And maybe you can go back and see your family. You can get some money and go see your family, because that was the biggest thing. It was hard for her to go see her family. And so at that time, I was able to exchange phone numbers with her, and she was genuinely excited. She loved her job because she loved meeting people, but it's hard to stand on your feet for 8 to 10 hours a day. So she was actually welcoming the idea of doing the same thing she's doing now, but on her own time, still meeting people, and not having to stand on your feet day in and day out. So she was excited. I was gonna bless her life with this opportunity. So I got her information, and she hasn't joined my team yet, but I'm pretty confident that in the next few weeks, by me continuing to build this relationship with her, that she will join my team. And it really is that easy. You insert Scentsy into your life. It's not an obligation. Wherever you go, whatever you do, make Scentsy a part of your life. Even if you have screaming, crying kids, you can relate to someone else who has screaming, crying kids. You know, it doesn't matter whatever situation you're in. When you are genuinely sharing your heart and you're trying to bless other people's lives, it makes it a lot easier. So my last session, I challenged everybody that while they were at lunch to go share the opportunity with somebody, a waitress, or somebody that they met on the street. It's really that easy. You have this group, you probably have matching shirts, and they're wondering, what in the world are you guys coming in here for? That's what's going through their mind, right? Because we all think these things, but sometimes we don't say them out loud. So go tonight to dinner. If you guys are gonna go to dinner as a group, make a point to talk about the Scentsy opportunity. Make it natural. It doesn't have to be awkward. But what you're doing is, even if they don't join your team, what you're doing is you're building belief in that person. So let's talk about this lady, Sarah, that I met in Las Vegas. So say she never joins my team. She was really excited when I told her that she has a really bubbly personality. So if I did nothing else, I brought joy to her life that day. And so even if they don't join your team, it's okay. They may not, they may join it later, they may join it a year or two down the road, but you've brought joy to the world. So when you build other people up and you recognize them for those qualities that you're finding in them, it's good. And us women, I see a lot of men out there, but I'm gonna talk to just you women right now. We are bad when it comes to building ourselves up. I'd be the best person to tell you that you're amazing and that you have a great personality and that you are a strong leader and are courageous. But that's not the story I'm telling myself. 9 times out of 10, I'm telling myself I'm not confident, I'm not good at this, right? There's my fixed mindset, always coming back. It's like this little devil's advocate telling me things. So us women are bad at that. So when you go out into the world and you tell somebody, wow, I love your personality, they're taken aback by that. So just start by trying to do that, building the belief within themselves. They can do that. All the details of the business will come later. All you're doing is building that relationship. Now, be sure to get their contact information. This same trip I was telling you about in Las Vegas, I made a point to myself to talk about this business. Every day we'd leave the hotel, I'd put a bunch of things in my purse, and I made a promise to myself, that was my growth mindset coming out, saying, I will not come back until they're handed out. Which was easy, and I didn't have enough flyers, because Las Vegas is a great place to meet people from all over the world. So anyway, this same trip, I talked to another lady in the store. I have an El Paso Rhino shirt on because that's my son's hockey team, and she says, oh, where are you from? And I said, Texas. And she says, where at? And I said, El Paso. And she said, oh, my family lives in El Paso. And so we started a conversation. It's that simple as a shirt. She broke the ice and started the conversation with me. So we're talking. She has a young kid at home. She doesn't love her job. She travels 45 minutes back and forth to the casino. So of course, what do? I share the opportunity. You know what I didn't do? I did not get her number. She said, I'll call you in 2 days. I'll give you a day to get home, get rested. I'll give you a call. And she was so excited about this opportunity. And I was on my way out the door because we were leaving that day to go home. I was tired. There was a lot of things, right? That's excuses were coming up in my head. I didn't do it. I knew she was going to call me. 2 weeks later, nope, she hasn't called me. So that's my problem, right? This is my business. I need to be in control. There's a lot of creative ways you can get people's contact information. So if it's awkward, you don't want to say, give me your number, which I typically do. If I'm having a good conversation with somebody and I want to follow up with them, I'll tell them, you know what, you're busy or you're at work, I'll get your number and then I'll follow up with you what's a good time. So that's a good way to ask for somebody's phone number. But if it's still a little awkward and you're not feeling it, this is a fun trick that I learned. Take a picture of your business card on your phone and tell people, say, you know what, I'd love to give you my information so that way we can talk about it more. They're already excited. You've already gotten that emotion going in them. You have the belief built that they can do this. So of course they're gonna say, oh yeah, give me your information. I'm going green with my business. So how about if I text you my business card, right? So then it's not as awkward. You don't say, can I have your phone number, please? That's awkward sometimes. So be creative. Find some fun ways to get out there and get people's contact information. We'll talk about a little bit more about social media, but that's another way, is you could say, you know what, I have a business page, like my business page. You could even have them do it right then and there. You can ask them to friend you on Facebook. There's a lot of ways that you can be creative about getting people's information. But don't be like me and not do it every time, because then I lost out. She totally would have joined my team. We would have been building that relationship. She's got family in El Paso. It would be a no-brainer, and I was lazy and didn't do it. So the most important thing is to build the relationship, but keep it going by following up. Now that's the direct approach. Now let's talk about the indirect approach. Who has been turned down? Who's heard the word no? A lot, if not everybody, right? Big time in the back. All right, I think we've all been told no. So the indirect approach is fabulous for that. Now let me ask you another question. Who has a list of 100 always? Wow, lots more than my last session, I have to tell you. I think there was 2 hands. So whether you're a certified consultant, essential consultant, director, star director, doesn't matter where you're at in your business, you should always have an ongoing list of 100. That changes. Remember I was in commercial real estate. I had a whole group of friends in that career, and then I became a mom. Now I have a whole nother set of friends, and it's different. I still keep in contact with both, but as our seasons of life change, our contacts, they change. So always update that list. When you're looking for your next recruit or your next party host, where are you gonna find them? If you're running out of places, you gotta find that on that list of 100. You've got to continue to do that. This is a different session, I'm not gonna go on about that, but please make sure you guys do that list of 100. When you have it, the best thing for you to do is get on that list and start calling people. You're not asking them about joining. You're asking them if they know anybody that wants to join. So back to building the belief and building confidence in people, something easy you could say is, you know what? You know a lot of people. You're well connected, and I'm really wanting to build my business in your area. Do you know anybody that may be interested in joining Sensi, or that I could talk to a little bit more about the opportunity? Or maybe, you know what, do you know anybody that is a stay-at-home mom that is just going crazy and could really use time out of the house? Or you know what, Christmas just came, and do you know anybody that had to go into debt to be able to afford to pay for Christmas? I would love to talk to them about helping them with the Sensi opportunity. So what you're doing here is you're planting that seed with them about other people. So it's easy for them to say, yeah, sure, you know what, I do know people. But you're not asking them. It's not that awkward conversation where you have to say, maybe you would want to join my team. No, you're just talking. So by doing that, they may be thinking, you know what? I just went into debt. I could probably use this. Oh yeah, I'm a stay-at-home mom. I could relate. I need to get out of the house. So you never know unless you talk to people. So you can use the direct approach, you can use the indirect approach, but again, like I said, it works when you're genuine and you're consistently doing it. Now, we're going to talk a little bit more about social media. We all know the best thing to do with social media when you're trying to sell Scentsy is post the flyer that you got from the flyer group that everyone else has posted, right? No, wrong. I spent a lot of time on that flyer. It was a good flyer, but flyers don't sell. Remember the Windex commercial I talked about? They just popped up Windex one time. Every time I go to the store, I really want to pick up that 99-cent bottle of glass cleaner, but every time I'm drawn to Windex because I connected, right? You don't have to be sharing flyer after flyer. They're great for information, but what you really need to be sharing on social media is your journey. People connect with you. We're like one big reality show on social media. All you're doing is people are following you. They see a flyer, next. Sometimes it'll strike somebody, but 9 times out of 10, it's not gonna get you where you wanna be in your business. So share your life. Be honest, be genuine. Somebody in the last session too said she shared a bath bomb. She went to go put the laundry in. She watches her grandson. The grandson smushed up the bath bomb all over the carpet while she was doing laundry. So instead of being mad, she used it as a marketing tool. She took a picture with her grandson, shared that she was spending time with him, and she didn't say, buy a bath bomb. No, she just shared what was happening in her life. It really is as simple as that. Don't think about it as recruiting. Building relationships, that is where it is. That's where it's gonna make your team bigger. That is what's gonna help you with your sponsoring. So I want you to take your notebook. We're gonna do a few activities. I want you to take your notebook again, and I'm gonna give you about 1 to 2 minutes. And I want you to write down how Scentsy has added value to your life, either by the products or by what it has done for you. So how has Scentsy added value?
I put a few things. The amazing friendships that I have made have just been amazing. I've been able to travel to places I never thought I would actually ever go to, and the lessons that I have learned are not just business lessons, they're life lessons.
Absolutely. If Annabelle's in here, that's one of hers too, is that it's always life lessons that she learns.
Okay, so I put on there, first off, I get free stuff. It's given me something to have a goal instead of just going home and doing nothing. I have like daily goals, and it's given me my first vacation that I had because I'm a teacher, so that was the first time I ever to go to Kansas City for free. Everything was free.
That's awesome. Very good. Okay, last one.
I bought a Scentsy pool and a Scentsy home and paid it all off.
Wow. That's huge. That's awesome. All right, so think about how Scentsy's added value to your life. That's what you share. That's what you share on social media. Don't forget the income disclosure. But that's what you share. How Scentsy has brought you value to your life. That is gonna sell way better than any $49 join special flyer that you are going to post on your Facebook. And I'm not saying not to post those things, but don't only post those things. All right. I also want to talk about, by a show of hands, we already said who's been said no to. Who has stopped recruiting or stopped asking because they've heard the word no a lot? Anyone? I see a couple of brave hands in the back, right? I have to tell you that I too was one of those that stopped having as many conversations because it's tiring to get rejected. It's tiring to hear no after no after no. And with every no, it takes a little piece of my heart away, right? I always take it personal because I'm a woman and that's kind of what we do. We take things personally. But when you plant a garden and you plant seeds, I use this analogy for years and years with my team. When you're planting a garden and you plant a seed and walk away and do nothing, do you have a beautiful garden? No, hardly. Sometimes you're lucky and that one or two seeds you planted grew into this beautiful thing. But most of the time you have to water it and fertilize it and nurture it, give it sunlight. Maybe it needs shade. You got to figure out this isn't working, so I got to change this. It is the same thing when you're building a team. You can't give up. You have to consistently have more conversations with more people to be able to grow this wonderful team that you want. And once you get one, like I told you in my story, I built that belief back in myself with just one team member because it was fun. And if you haven't recruited yet, do it. I hear all the time, well, my sponsor's far away from me. Then you know what? That's perfect for you to build a team. Start a team of your own, create your own culture, and it becomes funner. The journey together becomes so much more fun. So I want you to think about why you first joined Scentsy. And that first day when you clicked the join button on your sponsor's page, how did that make you feel? We're talking about emotions. You were thinking, score, I got that kit for 99 bucks. That's awesome. Huh? Trepidatious, very good. So what else? Was anyone terrified? Yeah, right? Terrified could be. There's a lot of different emotions when you click on that join button. Oh, no, ask when you got your kit, how did you feel? Okay. Like Christmas. Yes, so then back to then you clicked on the join button, you were terrified, right? Then you got your kit. Then how did you feel? Like Christmas, right? Exactly. So it's important as you go along in the journey, especially if you've been in it for a while, or maybe you have team members that have been in it for a while, they have forgotten how they felt when they pushed that join button. So our job as a sponsor is to go back to them and say, hey, you know what? Remember 6 years ago when you clicked that join button on my link, how did you feel? And then again, just like Anita said, how did you feel when you received your kit? Sometimes they just need to be reminded of that excitement that they had long ago, because we all go through it. I went through a huge slump in my business, and I didn't think I was ever going to get out of it, ever. But once you build that belief back up in them, they can revive it. And every time if you're feeling that way in your business too, you can revive that feeling. You just have to continue to build that belief in your team members and in you. Understand why they joined. When you understand why they joined, you can better help them in their business. You can better make them realize they can do this. They can recruit. They can have parties. Right? Because the excuses that we come up with in our head, the stories that we're telling ourselves are what is preventing us from being successful. And your team members that are leaving and not staying with it, they haven't found that belief yet. There is a lot of Scentsy training out there. Every Tuesday, there's a live training call. Jason Harwood goes live in Tuesday afternoons. Sarah Walker goes live. There's YouTube videos galore. We have a plethora of information on our training center. There is a lot of training out there. So if you're thinking, I can't recruit, I don't know what I'm doing, all you have to know is where to point them in the right direction. And then the rest of your job comes from your heart. When you can share your heart and you can make sure that your team members know they can do this and you're building that confidence up in them, you're bringing joy back to the world, my friends. You're bringing joy back to the world. And that's how you're going to maintain the recruits that you're getting. Build a culture within your teams that they don't want to leave. There's a lot of ways that you can build that culture in your teams. Starting with the team page, that's important. No matter if you're a director or you have sponsored your first person, it doesn't matter. Create some kind of culture. That's the fun about this. The more fun you're having, the more fun they're having, the more they're not gonna wanna leave, right? There's a lot of ways to do this. So for me, I have a team page, and it's good. For team pages, I feel, this is my opinion, I feel like it's an informational page. There's not a lot of conversating going back and forth. Occasionally, when I ask a question or there's some exciting news that is coming up, then there's some conversating. But I have a director, I don't know if she's in here or not, but she has a group message on Facebook. She doesn't feel like her team is big enough or ready to have a team page of their own, so she has a group page set up. And I tell you what, that's awesome. They conversate, in the morning, hey guys, good morning, hope you have a great day. And then when they have a party, I have a party today, and everyone's, oh, I wish you good luck, best of luck to you. And they're conversating, they're going back and forth, and it is a great culture. They are getting to know each other, and it is phenomenal. You can do that with your small groups. Even if you have a bigger group, you can tear these little groups apart and build that culture within these little teams. It makes a world of difference. You can also, we also do in my team weekly Zoom calls. We call them Thirsty Thursday. We don't have an agenda on these calls typically. Like, you know, this past week we had a little bit of agenda because there was so much going on from February 1st. So most of the time though, there's no agenda. This past Thursday, we got on there, and the first half hour of our call, we were just talking about losing weight and different eating plans. And I mean, had nothing to do with Sensi, but we look forward to meeting each other. And some of my very best friends that get on these calls, I've never met. I met 2 people here today that get on the Zoom calls that I'd never met before, and I felt like we'd already known each other. We've shared tears together, we share intimate details, but we've built this culture that nobody wants to go. We build each other up, and that's what it's about. You don't have to have all the answers when you sponsor somebody. All you have to do is know where to find them. Use your resources wisely. I was a Girl Scout. You have to just lead by example. Somebody mentioned that earlier about their dad, that he leads by, he doesn't just tell you what to do, he shows you. He does it alongside with you. And that is so impactful, because if you just say, you know what, you need to go book a party, and you haven't had a party in 6 months, well, how do you expect your team to go out there and just book a party? So you have to share. How exactly are you booking a party? What did you do? How did you have the party? How many people? How did you host coach? How did you recruit? What conversations did you have? I mean, you just need to share with them. The more you share with them, the more that they're going to go out and they're going to do it themselves. They're watching you whether you think they are or not. So you have to lead by example. And then in turn, what happens? You're building this culture. That one person that changed my life, that built that belief back in me, made a huge impact in my whole story, in the story I was telling myself. And it can do that to you. But before you can do that, you have to decide right now. You have to make up your mind and decide that you are going to recruit, sponsor, build a team, because you can do this, and I know you can. So I have about 2 minutes before I am done. So I want to hear, is there any questions, comments, anything else that you guys want to add before we go on to our next breakout? Yes.
Hi, I'm Alyssa Flores from Oklahoma City. just a comment on creating relationships. I host a small group from our church at my home, and a lot of this, wow, you were really speaking to that, because we've been meeting in our house for over 2.5 years now, and the group just keeps growing, and they don't want to go. And the idea of a small group is to grow new leaders in your group so that they will go and lead others in their homes and mentor their lives. And so everything that she talked about today, I've already been doing for the last 2.5 years and didn't even realize how much that type of relationship building pours right on over into a Scentsy business. So whatever groups you find yourselves in, let's not be afraid. Let's do this together, because we do impact other people's lives in everything that we put our hands to do. Thanks.
Thank you for that reminder. Sometimes we're doing stuff in our own lives and we don't realize it would be perfect to just switch over into our Scentsy business, right? All right, we've got a lot of people ready for the next session, so we're gonna wind it up and thank you guys. I hope you have a great rest of your day.